I wake every day, put my feet on the ground, thankful to have another chance at it. I had a plan worked out inside my head, but not every day is gonna be like you imagined. When you're feeling down and out and nothing's going your way, don't give up, keep your head high. When the little things get big, push on and try. Don't give up, keep your head high. When the little things get big, push on and try. Push on and try. Hold on to your dreams and keep the faith. Fight for what you want and keep it real. The ones that love you will stay by your side. Breathing every day gives me my high. When you're feeling down and out and nothing's going your way, don't give up, keep your head high. When the little things get big, push on and try. Don't give up, keep your head high. When the little things get big, push on and try. Push on and try. Big, push on and try. Don't give up, keep your head high. When the little things get big, push on and try. Push on and try. Push on and try. Push on and try.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. My name is Ashley Daniels, and I am this morning's service leader. I want to thank today's service team, which includes Reverend Victoria, Rachel Derry, Monica Bennett, Bruce McPherson, John Elliott, Kathy Brown, Darcy Fever, and Cindy Carey. Our guest speaker today is Mia Laurent. Mia is a trans feminine youth peer support worker at Compass Community Health. We are not the first people on this land, nor will we be the last. We acknowledge our connection to the web of all existence, honoring the past and preparing for the future. The stewardship of the original peoples who lived and live here preserve this place for our generation. We seek to be respectful stewards of this place for those who follow. We welcome you today. Whatever the circumstances of your life, in the many ways we identify as people, and in the diversity of how we love and live. In this house of faith, we are all included as we search for truth, build community, and strive to make the world a better place for all. This morning's reading is adapted from Reverend Dr. Lynn Unger. Who are you? The caterpillar asks Alice in Alice in Wonderland. It turns out that is a surprisingly difficult question to answer. Maybe the caterpillar would like to know who Alice is in relationship to him. After all, she's a stranger in Wonderland. The caterpillar is likely wondering where the stranger came from and what to make of her. It turns out that this side of our identity is something that we run into a lot. We humans are relational creatures, and we want to understand how other people's lives connect with ours. Unfortunately, we humans are also quite territorial and all too ready to decide that someone doesn't belong. Our brains want to affirm our identity by identifying who we are not. Evolution has shaped our brains to distrust those we think of as being not like us. So how do we retune our brains to this world where we constantly encounter people who are outside our tribe, who differ from us in any of the 1,001 ways that people are different from one another? Maybe some part of the answer lies in our ability to answer the question, who are you? There are so many answers to that question. We are our relationships. We are our heritage. We are our sexual and gender identities. We are our bodies. We are our theologies and our philosophies. We are our hopes and fears and dreams and disappointments. When we invest the time and attention into deeply and specifically answering the question, who are you? We come up with a long list of precious details that we hold in common with others, and at least as many that differ from people who we know. The tendency to identify people as strange or other rests in the assumption, often unconscious, that our identity and experience is normal. But the more we look at all the facets of who we are, the more obvious it becomes that our intricate set of facets couldn't possibly be the same for everyone. But there's another piece of the puzzle. Alice, in the confusion of Wonderland, loses track of who she is and is challenged to understand herself in new ways. When we dare to enter unfamiliar places, talk with unfamiliar people, taste unfamiliar things, even if they don't change our size, then who we are expands to meet our expanded world. As Alice experiences, we may run into folks who challenge our sense of who we are, who lead us to the awkward realization that we aren't sure, that our identity is shifting with each surprising encounter. It isn't necessarily comfortable, this interview with a caterpillar or with any stranger, but it is what leads us into a wonderland of discovery, where we move beyond imagined walls into new possibilities for who we might turn out to be. Our chalice is a reminder of the light and hope of our faith. We light it each time we gather to remind us of the sacredness of our time together. I invite everyone to recite our unison chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. Kathy Brown will now share with us our final Victoria moment.
I've been a member of the worship team for a few years now. One Sunday after the service, we had a meeting and Monica Bennett joined us to ask what made us feel welcome when we first came to the Unitarian Church. What made us want to stay? I didn't have to think about the answer to that question. I immediately pointed to Victoria, who was seated at the table, and I said, that woman there, that's who made me feel welcome, and she is why I have stayed. This very early morning waking thought was, yikes, this is it, D-Day, get that Victoria moment wrapped up. And a song popped into my head, still dawdling on the cusp of consciousness. What if God were one of us, just a slob like one of us, just a stranger on the bus trying to find her way home? Like this song made famous by singer Joan Osborne, Victoria has brought a very human face and voice to the search for meaning into the mystery of what God might be. God is anyone. God is everyone. God is you. God is me. God is Victoria. As a child, I had faith. I had God in my pocket, a friend I could always talk to. As a teenager, I began to ask difficult questions about the Presbyterian notion of God that I was taught to believe in. And since then, I have no longer had God in my pocket, and I was missing that. I was left with a longing for spiritual community, a place to feel safe and connected. All these years later, I can truly say that Victoria has been the portal to all of you, to here, to this, to my beloved community. Victoria, you have gifted me back to my soul center. After I took instructions on how to become a service leader, I found I was way too scared to stand up and speak in front of a spiritual community. I'd done lots of theater work as an actor, but it wasn't the same thing. Here, I wasn't playing a part and I didn't feel safe. Eventually, out of guilt and feeling that I ought to be doing my bit to support this community, I hesitantly committed to service lead one Sunday, but only with Victoria's guidance and support. I met with Victoria, and she told me that when I looked out into the faces of the sanctuary, it was my job to make them feel safe and to create a safe space for them. The irony of it. Not only did it help me bring me out of my own insecurities, but it was also wise instruction that took me up to a place that I never expected to be, standing on higher ground and still feeling safe. As they say, words cannot express. My dear, dear Victoria, my wish for you as you go forward into this new chapter of your life, that you go well, and like the song says, find your way home. And finally, words from my Buddhist searchings: no coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free, because I am in you and you are in me. Thank you, Victoria.
Number 1053, How Could Anyone? How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I think I've stopped crying enough now that I can do this morning's story, which is Pride. It's a story about Harvey Milk. You have to give them hope. Here's Harvey. Hope for a better world. Hope for a better tomorrow. Those were words said by Harvey Milk. He was an ordinary man, but he had an extraordinary dream, a dream that would change history. Harvey dreamed that everyone, including gay people, would have equality. He dreamed that he and his friends would be treated like everyone else. He dreamed that one day people would be able to live and love as they pleased. With his New York accent, Harvey talked to everyone about his dream. His voice boomed and his body bounced with energy and excitement. Some people listened, a few agreed, many did not. But Harvey had a big voice and a big dream, and he wasn't going to be stopped. He discovered that the best way to change laws is to help make the laws. So in San Francisco, Harvey became one of the first openly gay people elected to public office in 1977. Harvey and his friends planned marches to protest inequality and unfair laws. And just days before one of those marches, Harvey had an idea. He thought, a symbol. We need a symbol. one that shows who we are and how we feel, something to carry during the march, something to make people feel they're part of a community, something to give people hope. He knew an artist who could help him, so he went to ask, and that artist's name was Gilbert Baker. Gilbert said, "We need a flag." Volunteers arrived, and they helped to dip the fabric in large barrels filled with vivid and vibrant colors. They cut and pieced and sewed until they had a flag with colorful stripes. On June 25th of 1978, there was a breeze blowing as the flag unfurled at the start of the march. The flag fluttered and flapped and flew. Leading the march was a rainbow as bright and unique as the people who walked behind it. They hoped the march would make a difference. And Harvey was proud of that flag. He hoped others would feel proud too. He wanted everyone to know about that flag, take it as their own, and feel proud. Five months later, Harvey and the mayor of San Francisco, George Moscone, were assassinated. Their lives were taken by a man who did not think like Harvey or feel like him or love like him. The flag did not fly that very sad, dark night. Instead, thousands and thousands of people marched silently carrying candles. The people wove through the streets a mile of glowing candlelight to honor 2 lives lost. Now that could have been the end of Harvey's dream and the colorful flag, but it wasn't. More and more rainbow flags appeared. People began to think of the flag as their flag. They began to feel hope and pride. In 1994, Gilbert designed another flag. This one was a mile long, and it floated above the streets of New York City for hope, for love, for fair laws, and for equal treatment. It didn't take long before you started to see rainbow flags all over the place. There were bumper stickers and t-shirts. There was one at the Museum of Modern Art. Then they showed up all over the world. In Brazil and England and Israel and Russia and Singapore and Turkey, people started seeing the flags on farms, in suburbs, outside public buildings, at restaurants and churches and homes. Why, at one time, in 2015, even the White House was awash in the colors of the rainbow flag. Equality, pride, hope, love. Harvey's dream became a flag for all of us. And that's our story today.
In these moments of contemplation, I invite you to relax, close your eyes if you like, and breathe deeply. Following our reading, there will be a few moments of silence followed by music. This is from Litany for Survival by Audre Lorde. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who live in doorways, coming and going, in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward. At once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures. For those of us who are imprinted with fear, the heavy-footed hope to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak, remembering we were never meant to survive.
When fear fills my heart, may I speak nonetheless, and in uncertain times step forward. When love is a risk, may I love even so, and may joy be a part of it all. When fear fills my heart, may I speak nonetheless, and in uncertain times step forward. When love is a risk, may I love even so, and may joy be a part of it all. When fear fills my heart, may I speak nonetheless, and in uncertain times step forward. When love is a risk, may I love even so, and may joy be a part of it all. When fear fills my heart, may I speak nonetheless, and in uncertain times step forward. When love is a risk, may I love even so, and may joy be a part of it all. And may joy be a part of it all. And may joy be a part of it all.
Mia Laurent will now deliver our homily.
Hi everyone, my name is Mia Laurent and I use she, her pronouns. I work as the Youth Trans Feminine Peer Support Group Facilitator at Compass Community Health. You may know me for my organizing with Rad Dish, as well as putting on events for the queer, trans, and plus size communities in Hamilton. This month, more than any, is the month when we celebrate who we are and who we have become, despite living in a world that often seeks to harm us or prevent us from being ourselves. We often forget that we need to celebrate who we are inside as people, not our identity, so to speak, but as a person who deserves to be loved. Through exploring the relationship between compassion, love, and judgment in this homily, I hope that you can spend the time after this service taking the time to truly know yourself. Know what your needs are. Know what makes you happy. Chase that happiness. It's not being selfish. It's you figuring out how to bring yourself up while you continue to help and bring other people up with you. No more pouring from an empty cup. All of you in attendance, I want you to think of a time when you passed judgment on someone prematurely. You judged this person and it prevented you from being compassionate in a time when they may have benefited so much from receiving just a bit of compassion from you. You may feel regret from not doing what would have aligned with your values. Your judgment interfered with being who you are as a person, who you consider yourself to be, a good person, a helpful person. If only you knew the circumstances you have been able to show that person love. Maybe you know now that they were probably doing the best they could at a particular time. Now afford that to yourself. You are doing the best you can at any particular time. You are making it through. You are dealing with trauma, triggers, and stressors every day, but you are still here and you still deserve love. The inability to feel at home in this world is not your fault. You have to live for yourself and not the expectations of other people. The abusive dynamics you've experienced in your life, the ones that seem a bit too real when you're watching TV or a movie, don't have to kill your spirit. For many of us, continuing to exist after all we've been through and all we will have to go through is a victory that should be celebrated. Please remember this for yourself and show yourself the kindness that you show others. It is through judging ourselves that we can't show ourselves the compassion we would show someone else in a similar situation. You are judging yourself in the regretful way you would judge another. We can't love ourselves because we are always judging and holding ourselves to a different standard. The standard set by the world, the expectations it has for us, what other people have told us we should be, act, and feel. Sometimes there's a little bit of you in what you hate. We hate in others what we hate in ourselves. Maybe there is something about you that you wish you could change, a way of thinking similar to yours that rubs you the wrong way when you see it externally. Maybe someone is doing something you may do if only circumstances were different. We demean and attack others when we feel inadequate, insecure, or criticized. We look down on others for being themselves, while wishing we had the opportunity to do so, maybe even wishing we could do the exact things they are doing. While trying to live to the expectations of others, you've set aside your needs and may not even know what you're doing. Maybe you're a people pleaser. Maybe you're fiercely independent. Maybe you support others because you're strong and resilient and can always be there for others. But what about your needs? Are you realizing where this constant need to be there for others comes from? Are you realizing you may have withheld love for yourself throughout all this? Are you realizing that the loneliness you feel is because you've withdrawn and isolated yourself by denying yourself what you happily and readily offer others? I want you to take that inventory of your motives for helping others and turn that to see how you can apply that to yourself. You are doing the best you can at any particular time. Others are doing the best they can too. Transitioning is a process where you show yourself as much love and compassion as you can in the face of other people's judgments. The experience of a trans person, especially a trans woman, is to be told to loathe who you are on the inside. Your impulses are wrong. Your expression of your gender is wrong. What you like and your interests are wrong, and you are policed into becoming the sum of others' expectations. There isn't an opportunity to show love to yourself. A trans person's eyes will look different in the photos taken of them after transitioning for a reason. They are at peace with who they are and finally get to be happy and expressive. Not only do we have to deal with the constant body horror of dysphoria, but we habitually discount our worth and the validity of our thoughts. It's what has been taught to us, ingrained in us, and internalized. Unfortunately, this isn't an accident. This is purposefully done throughout a trans person's life, even before we know we're trans. We fall out of people's expectations and are judged so harshly for it. Choices of color, choices of clothing, the way you speak, any choice of expression is an opportunity for a trans person to internalize being demeaned for who they are. It's a beautiful thing when you get a group of trans people together. It's as if you get to let down your guard and be yourself and know in your heart you are truly seen for who you are at any stage in your journey. The cis people we choose to have in our lives can be very special and affirm us, acting as a counter to the painful history of cis people denying us the opportunity to feel at home in our bodies and in this world. Not showing love and compassion to ourselves has prevented us from realizing who we are for too long, kept us closeted, or internalized the judgments of others as to who we are. To show love to ourselves, to come to this service and show love to others, for me to tell you all, but especially my sisters hearing this, that you deserve love. You deserve to be shown compassion. It is one of the hardest things that we can do for ourselves. During this pandemic, many of us have never felt so isolated. I'm hoping that you remember there are people who love you, there are people there for you, and these people will help you if you reach out. Even if you don't feel you have anyone, a situation I unfortunately have felt before as well, you still have to show yourself kindness. It does get better, but you have to live authentically and be yourself so that others can see the real you and validate that the person you are deep down inside at your most vulnerable deserves love. We've been through so much in the past few years as a community, and we've been through so much in the past year with this pandemic. It's time to start being yourself, living authentically, and loving yourself. And thank you so much for listening to my homily. I hope you enjoy the rest of the service. So please show yourself kindness and happy Pride, everyone.
Number 168, One More Step. One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word. One more prayer, we will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer. One more song, we will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
We're going to take this opportunity to install Sandy Lubert as our new lay chaplain for the congregation. Lay chaplains are our ambassadors in outreach to the larger community. They perform rites of passage for people who are not a part of our congregation, but who yearn for a meaningful ritual of marriage, vow renewal, memorial, or child dedication. Sandy is here with us today, so you can look through the gallery and find her, although she should be highlighted when she's able to speak. And I have some questions for you, Sandy, as you enter into this new role. So, the first one, Sandy, will you accept the role of lay chaplain for the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton to serve with the best of your ability as an ambassador for the congregation in this role?
I will.
The second question, will you honor the lay chaplain code of conduct in developing and delivering meaningful rites of passage and fulfilling the legal requirements of your role with integrity?
I will.
Will you work in collaboration with the other lay chaplains and the lay chaplain committee, seeking their support and guidance and offering your own?
I will.
The congregation and I are pleased to present you with a gift this morning of a stole that we give you because we want you to wear that as a symbol of your role as lay chaplain, to symbolize your service to the congregation and to the larger community. And I see Patrick is there to put that stole on you this morning. That looks beautiful. And now, John, if you'll put up the words that the congregation will read. Thank you. Let's read together. We welcome you, Sandy, as our lay chaplain for our church. We ask that you serve the community with integrity and kindness as a representative of our faith tradition. We give you our blessing as you enter into this new role of community service and outreach. We promise our support and caring to you as a lay chaplain and hope you find happiness and fulfillment in this role. Let's all give Sandy a big woohoo!
Thank you.
Welcome, Sandy.
Thank
It's
you.
delightful to be able to bring you into the fold today.
Thank you.
Our benediction today is by Darcy Roque. There's too much hardship in this world to not find joy every day. There is too much injustice in this world to not right the balance every day. There is too much pain in this world to not heal every day. Each of us ministers to a weary world. Let us go forth now and do that which calls us to make this world more loving, more compassionate, and more filled with the grace of divine presence every day.
Hey, how is everybody? Hope you're feeling well today. This is my new song. I wrote this a couple days ago, and it's called We Are One. And just, you know, what's going on in the world now, the way I feel, maybe the way you guys feel, hopefully. And yeah, if you like it, share it. Share the love, baby. And this is it called We Are One. We know we're gonna see better days. So much so fast has changed. How we long for the good old days. So much so fast has changed. Where do we go from here when nothing seems so clear? We must take this time, leave our own ways behind. We are one, you and I. We are strong side by side. We are one, you and I. We will shine. We are one, you and I. We are strong side by side. We will shine. We will shine. Everything we need is here right now. Take a breath, look around. Don't let the moments pass us by. Hold them close, hold them tight. We are one, you and I. We are strong side by side. We are one, you and I. We will shine. We are one, you and I. We are strong side by side. We will shine. We will shine. The future in our hands we hold. Strong and steady we go. Together we can make the change. Baby, you and I, we are the change. We are one, you and I. We are strong side by side. We are one, you and I. We will shine. We are one, you and I. We are strong side by side. We will shine. We will shine. you will shine. Peace. Be kind to each other. I love you.